my name is Lisa Dahlman, and my experiment is the effectiveness of formaldehyde in milk preservation. So just a little bit of background. Formaldehyde, it's a really potent chemical that is often used to help preserve things. Like if you can think if you're ever doing dissections, you can always smell the formaldehyde. And it is really dangerous for humans to ingest in high doses, but in small doses, it's not too harmful. And it was originally used commonly in milk by milk producers to help keep the milk lasting longer, but it is now regulated by the FDA, so you don't really find it in milk anymore. And that is why I'm using milk, is because it's not really found in it anymore, so I just kind of wanted to look at and see if it was still effective at killing bacteria, besides the point that it is toxic to humans and it can be very dangerous, which is why I wanted to say that this experiment, it is ignoring the fact that what I'm using could be dangerous to ingest. It is only looking at the rate of fungal growth and if it is lessened or increased by formaldehyde. So, some past research experiments. The first one was done by the Department of Agricultural, Food, and Nutritional Science. In this one, they fed cows canola seeds that contained formaldehyde and then looked at the cow's milk composition to determine if there was less fatty acids, because what they were trying to decide was if formaldehyde was effective at reducing the amount of fatty acids or not. And what they found, or what they concluded, was that the formaldehyde was effective in reducing the amount of fatty acids, but it also, when used too much of it, it had a negative effect and actually increased the amount. And the point I kind of got from this was the fact that it shows what I was talking about earlier, where formaldehyde, when used in high doses, does have a negative effect, but in low doses it can be effective. And the second experiment that I looked at was done by researchers in Japan in response to increasing formaldehyde levels in the atmosphere. And what they did was they looked at different amounts of exposure to formaldehyde, like in people, and then looked at their medical effects, so signs of irritation and like basic things like that. And what they concluded was that as long as people protected against these non-cancer effects of formaldehyde, that it wasn't dangerous to the person. So basically, if they monitored it early, that it wasn't deadly. And the point that I got from this was, again, the fact that if we monitor it, it can be helpful and not harmful. So this leads to my hypothesis, and what we know about formaldehyde is that it's dangerous and potent, but we don't know how effective it can be besides that fact. So what my experiment aims to is to determine the effectiveness of formaldehyde as a preservative in milk. And my hypothesis is if the amount of formaldehyde increases from 1.2 milliliters of 37% formaldehyde solution up to 1.8 milliliters, and then there will be less fungal growth in 473.16 milliliters, or 1 pint of milk. So when I'm saying 473.16 milliliters, that's just a way of saying 1 pint without using the pint. So this is kind of my methods, or how the experiment would go. And so the type of study, it's a laboratory study. And what would happen is we would use 12 uncovered flasks and fill each one with 1 pint of milk, and then 4 different amounts of formaldehyde. So you'd have the control group, which would be 0. And then you'd have 0.6 formaldehyde, 1.2, and 1.8 milliliters. And to make this experiment more accurate, you're going to use 3 flasks per the amount of formaldehyde. So with the control group, you're going to have 3 flasks with the same amount of formaldehyde, and then the same for each group going on. And then you're going to keep the flasks up for 7 days at room temperature, uncovered. And room temperature would also be 22 degrees Celsius. And then you're going to use dermatophyte, milk agar, and petri dishes to look at the 12 different milk samples after the 7 days. And then you're going to look at the plate coverage by fungal growth, and then kind of find the averages and look at the results and see which amount of formaldehyde had the higher fungal growth and which didn't, kind of see which was most effective. So this again leads me to the conclusion that I kind of picked the amount of formaldehyde in the middle, because I always see that if you use too much of a chemical, it could have a negative effect, so I kind of shot for the middle ground on it. So yeah, that's it.